So I don't have anything prepared for this. I'm just going to try to talk about my process a little bit, about how I wrote my first two novels. And I have a whole bunch of binders here, and I'm just going to kind of go through them randomly. So I'm going to start off with these. And these are from 2015 when I was working at the Cincinnati Art Museum as a guard. I would walk around with these in my pocket. Like, what was that one? October Sun, North Korean refugees on the radio. I have no idea what that means. My story has nothing to do with North Korea, but when I was working at the art museum, apparently I thought it was relevant. Because that's what it is when you're working on an early project. Oh yeah, that's what that is. It's Ganesh. I love Ganesh. Inside, outside, asleep, awake. The local who believes the young man broke into his home. Oh, that actually is in my comic. Okay. It's so interesting going back through these because, I don't even remember writing a lot of this stuff. I like this. I like this person. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of, lore in here. Oh my god! Hold on. I just found my Bitcoin recovery phrase. I got $300 of Bitcoin back in, 2015. I might not be able to access this anymore. I always wondered if I was going to come across that again. I'm going to have to remember to block that out. Anyways, ignore that. I'll look into that tomorrow. Universes create universes. Universes replicate. That's that type of shit I was on in the big 2015. Okay, I had to interrupt the video because I'm going to see how much Bitcoin I have in my wallet from 8 years ago when I bought 100 Bitcoin, 800, I bought 1 Bitcoin 800 years ago. I want to see where it's at. Okay, so mystery solved. Mystery solved. How's this thing even working right now? I just got $1,000. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm going to keep going through these little notepads because, I'm having fun. And I don't know. I can just edit something together later, I'm sure. Boring. Yeah, you can probably see some of these pages have what was that? It's the biblically accurate angel of the middle school S that everyone drew. But anyways, you can probably tell that there's some of these pages have, hold on, let me hold it better, have highlighter on them. And that was just so I can mark this is a pink around it. Which, I don't exactly remember what the reason was for that. These have orange lines. I think it was to show which I decided to keep and which I decided to get rid of. Because most of this is stuff that ended up getting deleted. Like I said, most of this is just I don't even remember what I was thinking when I wrote half of it. I was still making up some of the most basic elements of what kind of story I was trying to tell. And, early on, you just are willing to try out anything. The early stages of any process are always going to be extremely, rough in comparison to the final project or the final product. Some birds. Some birds for you. Always good to have some birds on your side. So, anyways, that's that. So, one of these, and I have a bunch of these. Hold on. One of them is still over here. Way over here, where it shouldn't be. Let's see, which one is this? This is... I can probably start with this one, because this is still Dremen. It's not Lithoria, which, ooh. Get your use out of a binder while you can. I've never had that happen before. So yeah, Dremen, a novel. Yeah, let me see if I can find a good example. This is a very early draft, so a lot of the notations are very rough. And I'm seeing a lot of, oh, this is kind of an interesting page. Kind of got a doodle down there, I guess. Got that blue ink. So yeah, this page, so yeah, this page doesn't even have printed text on it, I don't think. I don't see any. It just seems like it's all handwritten on blue ink. I don't know. I have like a whole system you can kind of see where I actually have pretty strict hand notation rules where, you know, there's whole sections you can see where I X out, and then I always make sure to be very clear, which is like an act of love to my future self, which is I'm very strict about the circles and arrows demarcating passages and where they're supposed to go to. I make sure that they are as legible as possible, because if I have to exert myself in trying to figure out what past me was trying to tell future me, I get so tired and frustrated and angry that it just saves so much. It's so nice to think of your future self as somebody who you just, you know, want to just have an easy time. Let me make it easy for you, future me. Let me make it so that your eyes, your precious little old eyes, don't have to strain so hard to read my opaque words. None of these doodles really have anything to do with what's in the story. They're all completely random. I just do it when I'm bored. There's a lot of like stuff that I'm skipping, but when I find a later draft, there's more that I actually have to say, because there's more like detail that goes into that part of the process than this part. Because right now, this is probably my first or second draft. I'm not exactly sure which. If I compare it to another one, I might know. I usually try to date them these days, but sometimes, especially, you know, as of recently, as of like a few years ago, I just didn't do that. So like, because like what? It doesn't really serve a purpose, like practically. And this is another old one. This is an older one, because this is one that's written in a screenplay format. Because I was planning on doing it as a comic originally, and then I realized that I would never finish drawing that comic, and it would be much easier to write as a novel. So there is this whole big long version of it that's like very different. It's a very different, older version of the same story generally. I love it when I come across pages like this where it's just all completely, it's just like all X'd out. It's just like none of it can stay. Yeah, this one's not really that interesting. It's in and of itself kind of cool to go back to, and just if I went through it, it would be very different than what it ended up being. It'd be interesting to see how it evolved. But whoo boy, is there also a whole lot of fat that needed to be trimmed, a whole lot of scenes that didn't need to be there. So that's that. Now what's this one? Oh, this is a 2023 draft for the novel. Yeah, in the future I'll have a more structured approach to how I talk about my method of, ooh, this is a good one. But yeah, my method of writing is something that needs to be like itemized, and I'll come up with a list, and I'll come up with a script, and I'll do all that lame stuff. Anyways, this is a very good example of what I'm talking about in terms of how I structure these things, because you can see I got really into the nitty-gritty on what was happening in this section. And this is the very beginning of the prologue, which makes sense. And it's even double spaced, which means I was giving myself at this time it's even double spaced, which means at this time I was giving myself the like leeway to make these notations as much as I needed, which I very obviously needed to do, because like there's just, you can see this isn't even, this is like not even the most extreme example, but like, I don't know. It's the funnest part of the process for me, because it's like you're giving yourself basically a way of looking back at what you've done. And, you know, if you ever think about doing it all on paper or all on the computer, I would recommend going back and forth, because what I do is each draft I do the other one, where if I have a draft that I did in the computer on Microsoft Word, I print it out, really cheap paper, really cheap ink, get a binder, know how much space I need. Early drafts are like this, where it's one-sided, double-spaced lines, one-sided paper. Then later it'll be one-sided but single-spaced. And then like the last draft, which I will see if I can find that. Where is that? Because that's Lithoria, and this is Lithoria, and that's Lithoria. Where are the later drafts of Dremen? There should be some very later ones. There's so many early drafts. There's 4 different printouts of Dremen here. What is happening? Why did I do this to myself? Why am I like this? What the fuck? This is absurd. Where is the... I know that there's a specific one. I know there's a specific one that's exactly what I'm looking for. But now I'm not sure where it is. Oh, man. Where is it? What did I do with it? Oh, wait, maybe it's this. Yeah, look at this. This was so fun. Doing this was like, it's a blast. I love storytelling. I love writing. I love organizing ideas into, you know, a procession of moods that seems to make sense on a non-intellectual level. Because, you know, this is what that looks like. Okay, so here, yeah, you have this is a fight scene. That's X'd out, and that's X'd out, and that's not X'd out, but it's heavily edited. But there's like this whole section right here is just all crossed out. And then I just wrote in these new, like, I don't even know exactly where all of it goes, because it's like, okay, so like up here, you can see that arrow saying, okay, that's here. But then over here, you have this other arrow that's like pointing right there. And then that connects all the way up here, because there's this one up here. So I don't know. It's fun. It's a stupid hobby. It's a stupid waste of time. I'm a big dumb idiot. I should be out there buying Bitcoin instead. I should be buying more Bitcoin. Drew a cat here. Tails on the other side. I drew a lass there. Well, I was in a drawing mood for this section. I guess just like a generic character design. In the book, there are these characters that have blindfolds on 100% of their lives. But if you read the book, you'll find out about that. So go do that, I guess. Whatever. It's just some more heavy notation. Well, here, let me show you this one. This is the one I'm working on. This is the one I'm working on right now. And this is the cover for the book. I mean, it's an early version. The cover is kind of finished. In this, I've been doing the illustrations for this one. This is the second book in the trilogy, which I may have already said, I'm not sure. But like, these are pages that I took out earlier. I should have put them back in by now, but I'm lazy, so they're just sitting on top of the stack. But they have illustrations, or like sketches of illustrations. And if you see this one, I'll put the finished version of this one up on screen so that you can see it for comparison. But that's going to be in the beginning of the second book, which is going to be 50% longer than the first book. The first book was like 125,000 words. The second one is going to be 188,000 words. It's ridiculous, but it's worth it. I don't think that this sketch is going to become a finished piece. It might. Right now, I have a list of 50 plus illustrations for the second book that I have to do, not including a bunch that I decided I just didn't have the time for. And it's been really difficult. Like, I had 10 that were finished a while ago, and I think since I started a month ago, I finished 15. I still have 50 left to go, which means the second book will probably be out by the end of the summer. But man, I am going to have to work a lot for that. And I don't know. I got this little sketch here I'm going to show you. And then I'm going to show you the finished version of it that I have right behind me. So, you got these guys. Focus. I don't know why it's not focusing on that. Okay, there we go. Now you can see. You got these guys. You got these guys. These guys are called Crooters. And then that got finished. And I turned it into this. which this is from like chapter 4 of book 2. That focus is doing wonders, I can tell. I'm going to jump off of the International Space Station, because my computer cannot focus. I know you can't tell, but I'm literally exploding with rage right now. See that? I have to remain calm. It's very important that I remain calm. Everything's going to be calm down. So, it's been really good talking to you guys. Really glad that you've come by, keep me company, look at my stuff, tell me that it's really... You guys are so nice to me. But it's that time. Time for me to go. Where am I going to end up? What's going to happen to me?